You are given a baby on your 21st birthday, the child turns out to be you as a baby. Raising him won't change your life, only his. How would you raise this child to give it a better life than the one you have? Send him to a Tibetan monastery to learn ancient martial arts so he can come back and be Batman. Not beat him. Support him and his hobby and get to know what he's actually interested in instead of ridiculing it and just telling him to stop doing it. Also telling him that it's not important what other people think of him instead of saying stuff like, "Look, other people are looking already." That's how you create anxiety in people. Listen, bucko. This town ain't big enough for the two of us. Yeet. Make him brush his damn teeth twice a day. *Edit. Good to know I'm not the only one who feels this way. Don't mock him when he tells me about liking or dating a girl. I hated when my parents did that to me. Give it to my parents. Give him to a parent who's older than 21. Simply give him the love and attention he deserves. Make sure to never put him through the DCF process and orphanages. 21st birthday. This hurts my brain. I would make sure he had proper coping skills and teach him the importance of health and nutrition. I've been morbidly obese for as long as I can remember due to bad eating habits and being sedentary. I've lost 62 pounds in the past 3 to 4 months from forming healthy eating habits, eating balanced meals, and getting plenty of exercise. Edit. Thank you so much for all of the encouraging words and awards. I got started by getting screened for mental illnesses by a psychiatrist and was diagnosed with ADHD and was put on a non-stimulant medication. It's been the most life-changing experience. That internal voice that talks you out of doing something is barely around anymore, and I've finally started developing habits and routines that benefit me with little struggle. Also, I found an indoor recumbent exercise bike, which is one of the greatest things for people who want to get a good workout that isn't hard on the back and knees. Plus, the ability to watch something on my laptop while I do it is awesome. Last but not least, I keep track of my eating and exercise using MyFitnessPal. Listen. Tell her that she always has someone to talk to, and if she doesn't feel comfortable with me, then we can find the appropriate people. Not downplaying her anxiety with "cheer up, it'll get better, it'll be fine." I would pay attention to his ADHD symptoms and follow up with his teachers to make sure he was reaching his potential in school. Don't tell him he's smart, instead praise his effort and hard work. I wouldn't ignore her or enable her. She would be told "I love you" every day, and she would always be welcome to hugs. I would get her started in pre-K homeschool programming, provide discipline, and no discussion subject is off limits. I would talk to her more as a person and not overlook and treat her like some stupid child. I would actually raise her instead of simply watch. Surround her full of people who would love her. This is what I do with my 5-year-old, who is basically me but with blue eyes. LOL. I like my life. I'd give the baby to my parents, they did a great job the first time around. Not use negative encouragement like, even jokingly, saying "don't fuck this up" before a big event. Get him into some solid sports early and teach him about handling money responsibly. You basically just described what's it like to get children, dude. It truly is a version of you, and your so and how you raise him will, more or less, only change his life. Give it to my mom and stepdad while making sure my bio dad could never do what he did to me to her. I'm not fit to be a parent, but my mom and stepdad are. Put him up for adoption. I don't need to ruin another life. No finish everything on your plate nonsense. Freedom to make mistakes early on. She would be treated as a person, not property. She would be given compassion and an education, not beatings, and religious brainwashing. Let her socialize with the neighbor kids. Let her have friends and not isolate her out of fear. Give her care when she says she hurts or aches. Take her to the neurologist for the migraines and fainting spells. Help not only when the illness or whatever reflects poorly on my public appearances. Which means help her transition when she realizes she's on track for the wrong puberty. Maybe pay for part of her college education too, if she earns decent marks like I did. Tell her she's beautiful so she doesn't starve herself. Give him human affection, which I don't have. There are some things that people don't realize would happen if someone doesn't feel cared for. Little man, most people are amazing. But there's some people, some bad people, who may even act like good people. And they're gonna try to hurt you. You say no. Get yourself away and clear. And come straight to me. If it doesn't seem right to you, or feel right to you, it ain't right. And they're lying to you. Protect yourself, and come straight to me with whatever is up. Always. You will never get in trouble for telling me about what's up in your life. Good or bad. Never. Keep her away from the sperm donor so he can't touch her. So many of my issues stem from that asshole, and my mother not believing it happened. Not criticize the child and nitpick at everything she does. Support her individually and tell her she doesn't have to put on a face for others. Same way I would raise a regular child. Isn't that just parenthood without the genetic variety? My life is pretty good, but I would do the following. Not gonna tell him I'm the old version of him. He doesn't need to grow up in my shadow. Things my parents did, I will repeat. My dad kept me away from ads as a kid by taping cartoons and letting me watch them without the advertisement. I am certain this had a major change on my development. Therefore, set up a Plex server where I can give Junior me access to all the shows and he wants ad-free. Spend lots of early time teaching and enriching. Sit with him to work on homework. Math was hard for me, it will be hard for Junior me. Never breathe a word of dyslexia or any kind of excuse. Just some daily flash exercises for the routine stuff. I will 100% take time off work for this if I have to, which I have the luxury of doing. Things I would do differently than my parents. We can skip the religion phase. No finish everything on your plate nonsense, full means full. Focus more on physical exercise, even if it's something weird and foreign like martial arts. No shaming about sex, be willing to talk openly and provide a safe environment for questions. Take her to therapy when she freaking asks me to. Never comment negatively on her appearance and never tell her she talks too much. Also little things like ask her how her day was instead of constantly pressuring her about her grades. Also make sure she doesn't become a brat and keep her self-esteem up without making her prideful. Send him to schools that don't have asbestos. My middle school is still working on that. Kill it. I just saw the mistake in the title. Shoot me. When I was 21, I was in no shape to be raising a child. I had to devote all my time to studies, partying, and establishing my career. The first time I was stable enough for a kid I would have been 26. I'd probably prioritize school a bit less in favor of extracurricular activities that he enjoyed. Though I'd also insist he plays at least one sport, so that he learns the value of keeping himself physically healthy and in shape. And I'd allow much less computer/TV time than I was allowed. Oh, and I'd make sure that he socializes with girls from a young age. I only started talking with girls at like 16, and predictably my social skills with them were atrocious. Give him back. I would teach her that her opinions matter, and that who she is as a person, LGBT, doesn't lessen her worth. Adoption. I don't like kids, and I'm sure as fuck not prepared to raise one. This is a great thought-provoking question. But 21-year-old me couldn't do a better job of raising me than my parents. A single dude raising a baby while going to school, working, and no spouse. The data is pretty clear. Humans, especially baby humans, need homes to be developed properly, they need stability, they need shelter, they need good nutrition, they need love, and they need attention. 21-year-old me would be shit at providing most of those things. Would I make sacrifices to provide those things for baby me? Of course I would. Could I match what my parents gave me? No, I couldn't. If raising him differently doesn't change my life, then he's not me, and I'm firmly CF. Enjoy the orphanage, kiddo. Pay attention to their concerns and give them guidance while growing up. Don't just stick an electronic device in front of them to replace actual parenting like my parents did. Making sure my brother doesn't drop me on my head again. First of all, I'd never ever touch alcohol. You'll never see me drinking in front of her or acting like a complete and utter tool. I'd do what my fucking parents should have done and get her evaluated for ASD. That way I can actively take measures to make hers, sensory and social issues better. I would have a lot more patience for her and take the time educate her on the do's and don'ts of life. She will never feel alone or that nobody can help her. She would never have a hand laid on her, both by me or by others, because I refuse to use corporal punishment and will teach her when and how to defend herself from people who don't treat her right. She will not be a doormat. I would encourage her weirdness. There would be no snarky comments or mocking. I would never wait till the very last minute to get her necessities. She needs glasses. Got them. Need braces. Done, sweetheart. That's not an exhaustive list, but if I had those alone, I honestly think I would have turned out a much better person. How would raising him not change my life? I have a fucking kid now. Not nitpick. Not try to control every single aspect of their life. Listen when they come to me about things. Accept them when they're questioning their sexuality. Make sure he doesn't have a narcissistic mother using him as supply. Don't feed him like an elephant. Isn't this basically just having a kid? You might know some specifics about how they will grow up because you know their genetics, and you know what gender they are, but otherwise isn't parenting just taking your experiences and trying your best to convey them to your child? Honestly, I would teach him everything I know now, cause you know what, I am proud of the man I turned out to be, beaming face with smiling eyes. I'll make sure to talk things through whenever he does something wrong, not scold him with no explanation. Listen to his dreams and aspirations so he won't get stuck to a career he doesn't like just because I basically forced him to. Lastly, teach him the importance of socializing. Make sure that he's not on his phone or computer 24/7. Teach baby me to appreciate what I've got and be grateful, even if at the time it seems super shitty and like the world is against me. Oh, and never say baby me, let me know when you start singing every time I try to sing. That ruined my love of singing forever. Place on ground. Slowly back away. I would make sure my mother never end up in charge of she/me. When he is 21 years old and gets his heart broken by the girl of his dreams, I would stop him from turning to drugs to cover up the pain. Hopefully me intervening and being there for him would prevent a downward spiral into addiction and spending his life savings on bullshit and having nothing to show for it.